You guys all set?
Yes.
We're set.
All right. Hey, everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metal Nation, and we are joined tonight by all four of the members of Graveshadow. Thanks for coming and hanging, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I mean, obviously, we're here to talk about music and new music and everything, but it's been a weird few months, a weird few days. Yesterday was the blackout for Pause the Show. How are you guys all holding up?
I'm doing all right.
It's been a little crazy. I work for Guitar Center, and all the ones in the area got looted but us, so we're a little busy.
Damn. Oh, I did not know that.
You know, went over for like over 100 miles. So
wow.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
we're doing okay here in Ohio. You know, there's been a lot of protesting going on, and we definitely fully support the peaceful protests. And
Absolutely.
some of my former students were involved in some of them yesterday, and they were doing, you know, their service as an American citizen. So that was pretty cool to watch. I'm pretty proud of them.
Yeah, I live in Redwood City, California, and there was I didn't participate in the Redwood City protest, but I took part in the Santa Clara protest because that's where my girlfriend lives, both of which were very peaceful. I saw some videos of the Redwood City one. Everything seemed very okay, but it was kind of trippy just going down El Camino and seeing just stores with boards all over it everywhere you went.
Wow,
we barricaded our doors when we left for the past 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And 4 days ago, they literally kicked us. We got a call from corporate at 1:30 being like, "Get out, barricade the doors."
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Everything's just been so surreal lately. And music is always sort of that one thing that brings us all together. You guys just put out the brilliant, you know, Nocturnal Resurrection in 2015, came back in 2018 with Ambition's Price. Now we've got a new song and a new EP coming, but there was a moment there where things might not have moved forward, but we have some new faces. We have some new music. Tell us a little bit about what's happened over the last year and a half or so and how we came to be where we are now.
Well, I think, honestly, just at the end of 2018 with, you know, we never really addressed it publicly. And Aaron and I were actually planning on putting together a little video for this, but honestly, I feel like this is as good a time as any to kind of really talk about it. You know, basically at the end of 2018, the previous members kind of did this burnout. It's the easiest way to put it. People started not necessarily being as, I don't want to say as invested in it, but just wanting to fulfill other areas of their life. And it all kind of fell apart for a second there. And Aaron and I were talking about putting together a totally different project. And in the course of looking for a singer, Aaron, I mean, why don't you take it from here? Because you were the one who brought Rachel in.
Yeah, no, I was collaborating with a mutual friend of both Rachel and I, and he asked if there's anything that he could do for me in return. And he's actually currently going to MI in Los Angeles, so I figure he's at a music school. He might know a singer that he could recommend me. And at MI, he actually didn't know anyone, but he knew Rachel because they were both cabin mates at the 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise. And, well, that's right, Rachel?
Actually, no. Avi and I have been friends for years.
Really?
We met at a female-fronted metal festival when my old band performed there in Maryland. So,
Well, what do I know? My bad.
No worries. I don't think we ever actually talked about that. So, yeah, no, we've known each other for years and years.
I honestly just knew you two guys as cabin mates at first, so my apologies.
Oh, yeah,
All
no,
right.
for sure.
Take two. He recommended Rachel to me, and then he put us in contact. I showed Will a sample of her vocals, and we just fell in love with it right there and then.
Nice. So you guys brought it all back together. You've got Lucy in on bass, and the new song, obviously, you get to hear all of it, and it sounds wonderful. So we're very thankful that you're still moving forward as Graveshadow. So
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the new song. I understand it's connected to the Witcher series and how that sort of came together and how that sort of changes your writing dynamic with the new lineup.
So the song Gwimbly was actually a good example of a song that we were writing for the new project at the time. And even with Graveshadow, there was a gradual progress to power metal. You could hear that in songs like War Chief, Widow and the Raven, and even on Nocturnal Resurrection, there's little vibes of it as well. But so it was just a gradual evolution that led to what Gwimbly ended up becoming. And having Rachel's super powerhouse vocals, it's fit the song perfectly. And I actually had no plans to make the song even about The Witcher. I just had the music and said, Rachel, have fun, have fun.
Yeah, no, he did. And, you know, Will and I are big fans of the Witcher series, as well as, you know, the books and the games. My cat's name is Geralt. So we're just big old heavy metal nerds. But so we kind of, we started talking about, hey, this would be great if we wrote it about The Witcher. So I kind of, you know, when I had just finished watching the series and I said, this is really good. You know, it's focusing a lot on that whole destiny aspect between Geralt and Ciri and their characters. So that was the kind of the inspiration, was to write it about their relationship. And, you know, melodically, lyrically, and instrumentally, I think it all came together. I'm really privileged to be working with this group of talented individuals.
Yeah, I want to echo that. I mean, I feel like once Rachel and then when Lucy, when she got recommended, she was actually recommended to me by somebody that I worked with, and I feel very fortunate to be working with them. I feel like Rachel's voice, like, because I'll be honest, it's like up until Rachel, Aaron sent me Rachel's audition tapes, I was very much not wanting to continue as Graveshadow. And having, as soon as I heard her voice, like, I was kind of, I called Aaron almost immediately and said, no, I don't think we should do something new. I really feel like we should just continue. I'm really excited for when we're able to play shows again, because I think that, I think that both of them are it's just going to add to the live show as well. And it's going to be nice to kind of get it back. And I couldn't ask for anybody better to be doing it with.
So, well, we've gotten the first taste, and as you alluded to, a bit more of a power metal feel, you know, a little bit less of the symphonic gothic, and you guys have always had other elements too, even doom, thrash, all of that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit, if you will, about what else we can expect on the new EP in terms of the content, in terms of the style of sound.
Yeah, I think it's gonna, basically what we're gonna be doing is it'll be 4 songs, and 2 of them will be new. They're done. Actually, we're going to be going, the next song that we go in to record is going to be another new one, but we're in post-production on one right now. What we've decided to do is take one song from Nocturnal Resurrection and one from Ambition's Price, because we can't do shows right now. So, you know, the best way to actually, like, you know, connect with fans and everything is to, you know, get out there, play, and so that people can see and experience the way that Rachel and Lucy, you know, how they add in their own take and their own flair onto the material that we've already put out. So we'll be redoing one of, not redoing, but revisiting one from each album as a way to kind of show fans, like, you know, what they can expect once we do get back to a live, you know, being able to perform live, what they can expect when we're at a show. I don't want to say the name yet, because we're working on a few things to kind of make this, because we are going to release them individually as they become available, because it's been so long.
Right.
You know, there was a long gap between Nocturnal Resurrection and Ambition's Price. It was longer than we wanted it to be. So doing this is kind of a way for, you know, for people to, as it's ready, they can hear it and they can experience it. And we're working on making, you know, making other things available as well. You know, we're working on new merch design, shirts, stuff like that. Just kind of really, you know, it's interesting. You know, obviously what's going on in the world right now is, I have a hard time talking about it. Like, I have a hard time, like, putting it into words. It's just insane. But it does kind of give us an opportunity to ramp back up in a controlled way, and kind of over a longer period of time. We're hoping that what that's going to translate into is just a better experience for our fans, given the fact that we can't play live right now.
Right. So without giving away the tracks that you picked from each one, was it difficult deciding which one? I mean, was it to be representative of that particular album, or was it just to be, it fit best with with Rachel's voice or just the feel of everything? And how'd you determine which 2 tracks?
The one song from Nocturnal Resurrection, what I will say is that it was a select favorite of certain fans of ours, and Will in particular, at least with me, was addressing the wanting to rework it later down the line. And then when it came time to do this EP, it was I said, hey, you wanted to do this, let's take advantage of that time.
Nice.
It's come out really well.
I agree.
Very, very well.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to more music and, of course, getting to see you live again. But you guys worked with our buddy Armand from Night Demon on the last album. Are you guys self-producing this time, or are you guys bringing in somebody to work with you? Or
we're working with the guy who did the recording for the first album. His name's Matt Thomas. His studio is Ashtone Audio here in Sacramento. And he basically, because of how travel is fairly restricted and just the logistics of getting down to Ventura, just unfortunately didn't make sense. And for an EP, he's in Sacramento. We've worked with him before, and that's kind of what we're doing. But it's still kind of up in the air. We are writing for a full length album. That is something that we are doing. We're preparing to do that, and we got a decent amount of material right now. But as far as who we're going to do the next album with, we're still kind of working that out. But I would say I would love to work with Armand again. Armand was amazing. It's like, he's a fantastic musician. He's an excellent engineer. The whole experience recording Ambition's Price was honestly it was surreal, just because of how flawlessly it went. And I don't know, I'm jealous of that man's guitars. He's got a gorgeous.
And that tone he gets too. So obviously we're only getting a couple of new tracks on this one, but with the revamp of the other 2 songs and the 2 new ones, did you guys do anything with this EP sonically, or anything that you sort of wanted to try that you haven't really done before?
A lot of guitar harmonies.
Yeah, that's for sure. I personally am a huge sucker for melodic death metal. So looking at bands like In Flames, especially the early albums, Dark Tranquility, the Insomnium, those are bands that I hold very close to my heart and have definitely made a huge impact on my guitar playing, writing-wise. Ambition's Price was my first album in the band, and that was something that I started to incorporate a litto more on songs like Doorway to Heaven. There's some guitar layers there that I tried to do, and even some other songs like War Chief, I try to incorporate that a little more as well.
Right. Without backpedaling too much on the former vocalist, who we all still love and everything, she brought in a lot of, especially on that last album, a lot of the layered vocal stuff. You obviously didn't have a whole lot of that on the first album. Are you thinking, do you have a feel for what you're going to do with that moving forward?
I think, I don't know, we talked about it, Rachel, like a little bit, like back and forth.
Yeah, no, I come from a very traditionalized metal background. So, the work that I did prior to this, we definitely had more of I had a love for bands like Accept and Saxons. That's kind of where, I started with my metal journey. And I've always really loved layering vocals, and I've really loved layering harmonies. I know that I have gone into track 1 song prior to this one being released, and it was a Heather song, and she's incredible, and she's an incredible human being. I really I like her a lot. But I remember talking to Will and going, how many harmonies are on this that I'm gonna have to learn? But I like that, I really do, and it's definitely elevating my writing style. And I would very much like to continue that and integrating that style into my own writing style. I think 1, because fans like it, they seem to really like it, and 2, I like it. I think it's more musically pleasing to the ear. So I am definitely down for layered vocals going forward. Yes.
Well, and just listening to the new track, it was sort of struck a balance to me between the 2 albums, but also had some new elements to it. Obviously not just your voice, but just the way you guys brought everything together. It's funny you mentioned Biff and Saxon because I saw your little quote on one of your pictures on Facebook that referred to one of the song lyrics. And I thought the other day, I'm like, of all these great, great bands that we grew up with and everything, has anybody ever actually covered a Saxon song?
You know, that's a very good point. I don't think I'm very aware of many.
It's almost like you're hinting.
I am. She loves Saxon. She's got that powerful voice. Nobody's done it. Why not you guys?
Any day of the week. Like I said, that's my school of metal thought. So I mean, I've seen Saxon several times when they've come to the United States, but no, I don't think I know of any modernized metal bands that have covered some Saxon. And you know what, we should really pay them some dues.
Yeah, that could be fun. I like that.
It just seems like a lack of respect because they're just one of the greatest bands ever. But obviously there's 4 of you. We're missing drums. Who's handling those on the new stuff? And
we will be announcing that fairly shortly. We're fairly.
Yeah.
We've got some things that we're working out with our current drummer. Obviously, we can't play live, but
right.
We definitely want to make sure that when we are live ready, that the band as a unit is cohesively prepared. And when that time is right, we'll be announcing that.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll be coming soon. He was already involved in the song, the revisited song off of Nocturnal Resurrection. He was involved in the recording process for that. It's just we want to be able to announce him the right way. We would have announced him already, but timing and things like that didn't quite line up to get photos, press, all that good
Right.
stuff done. When we announce him, we want him to have a proper introduction. But we've got somebody. He's working with the material. He's doing the things that he needs to do, and he's a very good drummer. He's an incredible drummer, and I think that what he's going to bring to the table is I think he's going to really help to accent a lot of. I think he's just going to help to accent and really just make the sound even larger because his ideas and the way he approaches drums is a little different, but it's a style that it's a style that I think is really people are really going to enjoy.
Nice. So the unmasking will be forthcoming. New music will be forthcoming. Do you know when you might release the next track? Whatever it may be.
I would say in about maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months at the most. It's really we're still waiting for the final masters on it, and basically once we have those and we can set up a release timetable and everything like that for it, because we've also got like I said, we're working on getting merch back in production, having new shirts and all that good stuff, and hopefully we're trying to make as much of ourselves available to our fans as we can. And for us, we used to play a lot. We would play locally a lot. We would go out and we would tour and we would do all that. And that in an ideal world, I'd love to be doing that right now. But since we can't do that, I think just making as much of us available to our fans is what we can do right now to kind of get things going again.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to getting live shows again. It's driving me crazy, and especially hopefully getting you guys back here again. We don't get as many bands here as we want in Boise because we're sort of off the beaten path, but eventually.
Is that still there?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is the Shredder still going?
Shredder's still there. Yep.
Yes.
Funny because I was actually going to be on tour starting next week with my other band. We were going to be going to Boise.
Oh, wow. Well, if you do end up coming this way, let me know for sure so I can come check it out. So before we get out of here, just for fun, you guys have done a lot of musical ideas, lyrical ideas around things, obviously like Witcher, Game of Thrones, all sorts of different stuff. And it made me wonder if you guys each could be a cast member or character in any series, what would it be?
Lucy, why don't you go first? I want to go last.
Well, you put me on the spot.
Yep.
Well, you've been so quiet. So.
Yeah.
Nothing really for me to talk about so far. It's really, really cool to put the person who doesn't watch TV on the spot.
That's why it's happening.
Real cool, Will. The only TV shows I've watched in the past like 2 years are literally The Witcher show and the Dark Crystal reboot.
Those are good, but those are
Those are
good.
great.
Fulcrum.
What about you, Aaron?
Oh, geez, because I mean, I've really started watching more shows now because of this whole quarantine thing. One of them actually being The Witcher. I mean, I'd probably go with Geralt.
So you'd be on The Witcher too, then? Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a character in the show, just being your own character in a show.
Oh, I mean, no, it's still, even still, The Witcher.
One of them is going to say Dexter, probably.
Oh
What
my
about you,
God.
Rich?
Yeah, my favorite anime is Cowboy Bebop. So I would love to be reimagined within the Cowboy Bebop universe, even though, we only got 26 episodes, still holding out for, a live remake. But yeah, if I had to be, definitely I want to, knock elbows with Faye Valentine. So that's kind of where I'm at.
And what about you, Will?
Honestly, man, Lord of the Rings for me. It always comes back to that for me.
Oh my God, what a nerd!
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Specifically, be a ranger.
That's a good answer.
That would be fantastic.
All right. Graveshadow, I appreciate you so much taking some time. We're so excited there's new music on the way and looking forward to seeing you guys play live again, seeing the new lineup together. The new song sounds great. Is that going to be the name of the EP, the first song there, and are you guys still on M Theory or?
Yeah, it'll be out through M Theory.
Okay. All right. So we still have more unveilings to come then, it sounds like.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't mean to be so cryptic. I mean, it's just we got there are plans, and I want to make sure that, I like I say, it's like there's been a history in this band of doing things by the seat of our pants, and for once we're actually ahead of it. So because we're ahead of it, I personally I'd like to see it unfold the way that it's going to unfold. But I think people are really going to be excited about it, and it's this next song that's coming out. Just Lucy and Rachel's contributions to it. It's a damn good song. I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. I think people are going to dig it.
Graveshadow, new music. We appreciate it. We appreciate you guys. Stay safe with everything that's going on, and hopefully we'll
You too.
soon when we get the new record ready.
Thanks.
Hopefully, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Please stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will do. You guys take care.